We're all going quiet because we know we're going live here in a minute, so know we're going to be recorded.
We have one watching now. Oh, that might be me. He was right. Andy was right. I'm the only one that watches them. Okay, we are live stream and recording.
Okay, we're live and we're recording, so we'll go ahead and we'll start and call the meeting of the Pleasant View Commission for Thursday, March 3rd, 2022. It's a little after 6 p.m., so we'll go ahead and start for this evening. We would like to go ahead and start with an opening prayer reading or expression of thought. We'd like to ask, or Commissioner Stokes, if you would lead us tonight with that and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Our Father in heaven, we are grateful for this day. We are grateful for all the many blessings that we have. We are grateful to be able to live here in this community. We are especially grateful for the moisture we have received. Father, at this time we ask you to please bless us, that we will be able to conduct ourselves in a manner that's pleasing unto thee, and that we will be aware and alert of the needs of the community and those around us. Please bless those in the armed forces that are serving our country, and those in uniform, those serving our community. We say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Tonight we will ask for a review if those commissioners have had a chance to review the agenda. If there's any declaration of conflicts of interest for tonight, does anybody need to make any declaration of conflicts of interest for tonight's agenda? Okay, we'll go on and look at the approval of the agenda for tonight. We'll skip the making a motion for the minutes. We need to review that tonight in the business meeting. We need to review that as a group, so we'll skip the minutes. Is there approval for the agenda? Do we have a motion to approve the agenda for tonight's meeting?
I'll motion to approve the agenda for tonight's meeting.
Okay, Dean makes a motion to approve the agenda. Do we have a second? Second. We have a second by Commissioner Bolenbrook. All in favor say aye. 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 We'll go ahead and move forward then with the administrative items for tonight. We have two on the docket. The first is a discussion decision, the consideration of a site plan for the new commercial development plant, a Pleasant View warehouse located at the approximation of 3155 North Highway 89. We're going to go ahead and discuss this a little bit, but I think we will potentially have the option of tabling after we have a little bit of discussion. So we're going to have staff maybe give us a little bit of background on this, and then we'll have a discussion which way to move forward.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, sir. So I don't have a lengthy presentation, but I just wanted to provide an overall snapshot of the status of this project. And so we've been working closely with the developer on this. This is for a warehouse out off of 89. This is coordination happening with the Austin development. Unfortunately, we just had some breaking production. We weren't able to get everything together. So we are recommending that people look at that for the people seven and with that we have it. We want more.
Are there any questions from anybody on the commission, or is everybody okay if we move to table that until the 7th? Do we need to make a motion, or we just go ahead and table it for that? Okay, we have a motion to table that for April 7th, and then it'll stay on our docket.
I'll make a motion that we table item number 1, consideration of the site plan for a new commercial development at Pleasant View Warehouse located approximately 3155 North Highway 89 until the April 17th.
Okay. Commissioner Bolenbrook has has made a motion to table the item number 1. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Oh, jumped in there. Gotcha. Oh, we have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Go ahead and move that to administrative number 2. Discussion and decision. Consideration of a site plan for a new commercial development, located approximate 995 west, 2700 north. This is, we'll go ahead and have staff go through it. We had quite a lengthy packet item, and so I really appreciate the condensed, updated items. So we'll take a look at that and let staff. Makes me really appreciate our engineering group even more so when I go through all the notes that we had. But we'll go ahead and take staff notes on that. We'll have a chance to discuss.
Thank you, and thank you for your patience with me as we're navigating without a planner. We will be having one starting soon. So, this is for the central development, and the current proposal is within the general commercial, the CC zone, and I just have to note on the fact that the zoning was compliant with the proposed use at the time of application. So we had 2 different references to the code at the time. You all have to recall. We rescinded part of that, so I'm going to go into a little bit of depth on that in the recommendation to the conditions, but it is compliant and still is compliant with conditional use under the current code as well. But I'll go into a little bit of depth on that when we talk about conditions. So that is legally acceptable application, and appreciate the care of asking just to kind of outline the site plan process and what it takes to go through this and get this together. And so obviously the initial start point of this, and there's even a start point prior to that, and that involves some meetings and discussions, dialogue with developers oftentimes, but the application is what really gets to kicked off and moving forward. And then we are provided with a piece of location, site, building plan, and then we have review and verification of meeting various requirements. So that's where we go into the depth. As Frank referenced, our engineers go through a lot of depth, all of the different engineering components, but we also check to make sure everything's compliant with our city code, our setbacks, our parking requirements, and landscaping, LID, and all of that. And then from there, this project, because, and a lot of our projects are actually got to VDOT roads that pass through that city, but we do require some form of VDOT approval, and that's something that, based on the location, we were really hand in hand with them. We weren't able to get attention directly off of 2700, even though there were a lot of efforts to do that. And so other solutions cannot out to address that. And then our development review committee does a thorough review of this as well, and that includes our engineer, our public works director, finally we have one. Our mayor is involved, I'm involved, and then also our fire marshal. And then with several meetings with the developer, work through these details, that's kind of the right to it with you all at times and so that's the process for the site plan, and as you all are aware of site plan, and you all make it before that's not something that goes so this is that final decision. And so just in summary with the site plan, before you this evening, and the characteristics of that, and you'll see this in the other materials that will be presented. There are 2 facilities to place on site. One is for office and retail, and the other is on your work building, which is very light manufacturing. We have customer facility parking address, outdoor storage area that is because it's fencing, and we'll talk a little bit about the fencing component. There's a private driveway that extends through the parcel under 2500 north, and that will help with their traffic with the use on site. There will be a concrete masonry unit fencing that extends under the property. And then the city's been working closely with the developer to convert 1000 west to a freeway roadway, and Dana's going to go through some details with that and how that will work in function. There's still some improvements that need to happen and working with UDOT, as part of that as well, but this is, a beginning place on that adjustment. And then, curb gutter and sidewalk improvements will be installed along the roadway except for the OD. So with that, we do notice this for public, comments and review, and we have a little bit of public review, which is great. We haven't received any public comments in our office. We didn't receive calls or emails regarding this property or this project. And this is, a rendering that was provided by the developer to show what the building is, intended to look like. And then, just kind of a side shot of what that will look like as well. And then with the questions, that I got about the fencing, this is, a fence actually installed at one of the other developments, so that the coloring will actually match more closely to the buildings there, but it'll look similar to that.
Will that wrap around the entire lot?
The majority of it. Yeah,
Not around that front building, but around the manufacturing size. Okay.
storage for.
That'll look nice.
And it's detect their assets and all of that.
Right.
I appreciated those questions on the side. And so with that, this is the site plan is mapped out, and so you can see how large this is my mouse, and I hope you can hear me, Julie. Sorry, I should have verified that. So we have the office at the front, and then, some parking here, and then there's actually, kind of a gate or some type of thing here to limit the traffic here, but it'll be mainly, the traffic for the operation here and some parking stalls for the office and some place here. And then again, that outlet will come through to 2550 more. So, Dana, I don't know if you could speak to the roadway improvements, and I have a couple of other slides or maps too, if it's helpful.
So because they couldn't get a driveway off of 2700,
Is that on?
Sorry, Dana's not as loud.
so we worked with the developer to convert, long story short, convert 1000 West to a two-way road. This included improvements to Highway 89, coordinating with UDOT, and this will become kind of it's a developer and city project. The city's going to contribute funds to improve the road, and the developer will contribute their funds to improve their side of the road, but we'll do it as a joint project. We haven't worked out the final details on how the agreement that'll be provided, but that will be worked out, and that will go to city council for approval. But essentially, we're turning 1000 West into a two-way road, and then any westbound traffic coming along 2550 will be diverted north, and any southbound traffic on 1000 West will have to go east. The only entrance off, or I guess it would be an exit off of 89, and that will be eastbound only. And we'll not be able to turn up 1000
Well,
West.
off 89, it will have to go this way. It's no longer this way.
Yes,
And this way will come here.
right. Yeah, so
Can we go still left or, I should say, east or west?
currently, yes, it will be full movement at that intersection until UDOT tells us otherwise in the future.
Nightmare anywhere in that whole quarter. Depending on the time of, I should say, depending on the time of the day, that becomes a nightmare either way. Now, if I understand, and we'll get the petition up here, maybe it's a better question for him, is the traffic flow, the retail is here, the traffic flow is going to be probably here and then outbound? Is
No,
that,
so their retail traffic, their driveway
well,
entrance,
the driveway for the retail is probably
It's
in
on-
and out.
it's on 1000 West. Yeah,
Yeah, so,
go back.
I don't know why it's not letting me go back. I'm sorry. Not cooperating, okay.
Oh, it's better,
So
okay,
there- yeah.
okay. No,
Correct.
no 2700.
Correct.
Okay, so the retail's just coming in and out right here.
Yes.
And most likely in and out here
Yes.
or back out
Or
that
they
way?
can go, yeah, they can continue south on 1,000 and curve around and go down to.
Okay, so then I will one ask the petitioner then, is, and I'm sure they've talked more from the city council, but semi truck in and then out, and then, okay, maybe we'll ask the petitioner, because I'm just kind of curious, who's the petitioner for this?
I don't know if Brian wants to pick it up or one of us got.
And then Amy, this is a public hearing tonight, right? Is that, so we'll have to open it, eventually we'll have to open it up for a public hearing afterwards. So go ahead. And so, full name please and address if you can, where you live.
Or now, you're YouTube famous now.
The one who is watching.
My name is Ryan Lau.
Okay, thank you.
I don't know how you'd like that to be or not, but the intent here is that retail will be fairly
Right.
small. People will be our contractors and our customers. Will be paying, and the majority of that is going to be either a pickup truck and a national trailer behind the pickup truck, things like that for customers. So they essentially you can either currently this Southwest is a one-way road only.
Right.
Okay? So I don't know how easy it is to say it or appropriate it is. It's kind of a mess right now.
Absolutely.
We're feeling is that we're working with the city to make this a better situation. So we're feeling that this is going to be a benefit to the community for the road, and it is costing us a little bit to do that as well. Yeah, and we're happy to participate. We're happy to be. And so say that a customer is coming off the freeway, they're gonna right after the gas station, right at the corner, the dental office right there. Sure. So if they're coming west, from the freeway, they will come back to that gas station, they will turn right in 2000 west. They'll probably come in here. This gate is essentially for our internal purposes past that point. It's going to be the lumberyard material. So the customers are pretty much going to stay just in that upper parking lot right there. Okay. If they want to, they can go back north here and then turn to the they can go straight. They can turn left. Now, turning west there is probably not a fast thing because even with the one way right now, that's very difficult to do. But what the tech said is that they will allow that to be a all motion until in the future they say that it can only be either a right handle. That's the worst case scenario that I'm understanding. But they will never take away.
It will let them control that.
But it is also possible that the customers leave the label southbound. And then they can exit that. But if they want to.
They can always get down and get to the light.
Okay, especially if they want to go southbound on 89, the way they would do it, they would come here, they would go east on 2550, and then they would head south down from there. Once they get over a couple of blocks.
They could always get over to 600 and get to the light and come back. So
at that point in time, they can either go to 600 and then go back up, or they can go back to 700.
right, exactly, right. So you can find the light.
Now, when you're talking about if the truck ever got lost and came into here, that's one of our big trucks, like a lumber supply truck, like a.
And
This does have right here, what we've done, we actually put it in the three lanes, wide, and the middle is long. So it doesn't actually have a raised middle, but it is right. So that essentially that truck could potentially pull through to this middle lane without obstructing traffic and make that point.
Okay.
If they ever got lost. We're never expecting that. We would never expect any of our traffic to go north out of this 1,000.
Once they know your area,
Yeah.
they're the
It
same,
would be someone
same
else.
drivers.
Not, yeah. Okay. It would be someone else that did that, but it is possible for them, obviously, because if they were coming out, let's say somebody was coming on, you get right there. If they want to turn west, there's the turning radius is there. If they want to turn to the east, they obviously have to turn into the second lane.
There is a detail lane on both sides.
Yeah. But that's not what is intended. And part of the reason why we did what we did here on this Highway 89 intersection is so that as the main structure.
So walk me through so are you the same group that uses, you're in Ogden, you have an Ogden facility, right? They're in Ogden Industrial Park, right? Just off industrial. So right now, at times, you have semis that have to park out in the right out in the open, and you're unloading out there in the open, which is fine. So walk me through, how are you unloading? I mean, I like the fact you have but I just want to make sure we're not blocking flow. But that's why I'm asking, what's the flow?
Comes off of the freeway, 2700. He's going to come down Highway 89 across on the way. And we can go here right after about that point in there. There's actually a little, I don't know, maybe wide concrete separation. But here was if someone would come here, come to this off ramp, put the wheel right there, and try to continue on. So they have designed into this to keep people from doing that illegal turn. Sometimes they do right now. But the intent is right after that concrete barrier, this roadway is being widened. Currently, the majority of yeah. We are getting concrete around our property and allowing it so the second that truck comes off, whether it's coming northbound or turns here, operating out or southbound and turns here. Second that we get past that concrete barrier, we can put this truck enough right here, waiting there, without impeding anything east or westbound traffic. He's essentially got his own turn lane. And in that lane, and turn left and have full radius. We've not however, the thinking we're intending is the majority of stuff has been coming out of our facility, come back out and stay here. And if they come back out to the south exit, the only way they can turn is to the east. They cannot turn right back up west. So they will never turn this way back. If they're outbound traffic, go down here. If they're going north again, 600 west, there, they would go up the light to back home. So that's the exit. That is the core of the what they do. They're not here. They're heading south. They come down here to 700 south. So that we've had our truck come and do this route and this run, and they felt super comfortable. The video has the GoPro going and everything. That on paper. That's what we want to do. So then, if by chance that truck does not flip around, please come out this gate right here. Okay. Again, that would only be if you come down to the state, it's kind of south of it. Then one turn north down off that state. But there's enough, there's not a lot that. But because I think that we find again there is and that we can this driveway by our problem. Start that turn early. There's more than enough currently. One of the things that we did work out this right here actually becomes along the corner. The roads are actually wider, so that when a truck is taking that corner, essentially you normally be cutting that corner. Not. You have the ability for the truck to stay the same both directions without. And in order to facilitate that, right here, this is a portion of the turn to allow this corner movement. Or if you need to do that way to heading around that. So that's the general traffic flow as far as go. I'll let guys do what we're talking to.
I just, that is more than ample. I appreciate it. Any questions from the commissioners on that? I mean, that really helped me out. I really do appreciate
I do have some questions. And I don't know if now is the right time, best time to, but has anyone talked to the students about their property?
Well, they would have been noticed for this,
No,
and
the
they,
only reason I ask is because you know, ideally, look, I'm in a big truck business and I'm pulling trucks all the time, and I pull out on Washington Boulevard and I can't believe we haven't hit somebody or somebody hasn't ran into one of our trucks. But I wonder if, I mean, my thought was when I was looking over this, because I've been down that road 1,000 times and I gotta turn around and you can't go out on the 89 from right there, right? Everybody knows that. But I wonder, you know, my thought when I was looking at this, could you talk to the students coming in at a 90-degree angle right there from UDOT?
that would be a UDOT thing, and that would be a whole other discussion.
And one of the things,
No, but you're gonna have to talk to UDOT already on this, no question, right?
right, so we did talk very extensively with UDOT. I cannot emphasize that, very extensively. And that was part of the discussion, and I think it's still part of the discussion. This is not a final solution. We're gonna work out some things with UDOT, but we also, whatever comes in later, we don't wanna impede on whatever is decided here. But I think too, part of the challenge, the road is all in our city, but right on that border, there's a lot of that.
That's why I say we gotta be.
It all kind of freezes the rules
Yeah.
there, but with UDOT, we'd asked, for some funding, some assistance to help resolve this issue, and they're not there yet. I think eventually we'll get to a place where the city UDOT, but it's because of the way the concrete barriers are there, it's incredibly expensive to modify some of that route where, I mean, this is a very creative solution that.
No, yeah.
An excellent question though, and I think in the future, we're going to have to.
No, because like I said, from your driving your truck, if you could just go from right there to 89, you'd be like,
Well, just the one thing to jump in here, Jeff. When we look at the transportation corridor, this is one of the ones that the city council, the mayor, and the engineers have highlighted as one of our, it's the inner corridor between Harrisville, Far West, and each of them. This is one of them that we've highlighted as, please, UDOT, look at this. We need this one to be addressed. Is that correct?
Yes, and there's going to be ongoing discussions. So we have looked at the configuration that you just proposed, but with the 1000 West tying into it, we would have had to swing the road out and go basically right through the middle of this Steams field. And there's intersection offsets. The road that goes across on the other side of the 89 causes issues we have looked at this intersection so many times. But you're right, and UDOT definitely plays a part. This was actually going to be a signalized intersection at one time, but we would have had to either taken all a third of the Sunpro property cut into wildcat storage, or reconfigured Mr. King's property. It's not going to work here. This is the best solution for this situation for the near future.
They're basically abandoning those signalized in the future. But if they did do it, they would have to do exactly what we talked about. Go to the area side. But they weren't willing to do that, and I messed that up because of the So that's the last thing I was thinking. Scott, how many trucks are we paying? Okay, the big trucks.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna hop on the mic and we have a commissioner, electronic, so they said 6 of the larger trucks today, and got how many of the box trucks? 12 to 15 of the box trucks per day.
Any other?
My only other comment was, just, again, just because we're in the heavy equipment people, or we're always pulling trucks, you can start going through these residential areas, and you're gonna get phone call after phone call after phone call, because we get them all the time, and we're like, well, we're gonna stop going there, which is, there's nothing stopping you from going there, but I would just, I would suggest just, try to keep as much of the traffic, I don't think it's proportionally, but on this road, 4550 up to 600 west, and then back out or something, because you got a signalized intersection up there. But I don't know. That's just my personal opinion, I guess. And right now, my truck will go out with. For all that, so much better to be out on that big road than it is to go down 700, right? Even I don't care if it won't sound like it's to go around 89 and take 89 down. It's just so much better for myself. And perhaps you could, as part of this, maybe there's a little bit of signage that say.
We don't want to get into that part. That's up to him from a safety standpoint, because we don't want to start dictating. Yeah, because we don't want to get into that requiring specific, and then that's an ordinance type of thing. All right, any other questions from the before we move there? Yep, let's go ahead.
Sorry.
Oh, thank you. This is good information. I jumped the gun. I jumped the gun. I jumped the gun.
I will forgive you.
All right, all right. That's not gonna be the last time.
Oh, I'm sure not, no. So we went, in depth on the roadway proposal, I don't know if there was a question on that. One of the things is, with the landscaping, we are planning on doing, xeriscaping throughout. And so this, goes to a seasonal work question, I'll get into, we do have a list of recommended conditions for approval, that are still remaining. So there's some city council approval involved with this, and, one of them you all, discussed in your last meeting, is this is something that would require a possible adjustment if the city council doesn't approve it, from the recommendation that, there's an ordinance amendment that's going to be made next Tuesday, to get that distance from the UDOT roadway. And so this is where we asked UDOT and said, what is your recommendation? We didn't give them a proof right now. And then from there, provided that number to them, so to work from with theirs. And then, the other thing, and Dana referenced the escrow agreement, and we'll work out those details with the roadway, and then, so the other thing that we're working to finalize are the stormwater, construction activity permit. One of the tricky things that we have run into and are working through with this property, is secondary water location. And so there isn't a ready access connection right to this property. If we are able to get that location secured, whether it be through Pineview, there is a Pineview line, and so we can go the path to that, or, the canal company. That's something that we need to get in place before. And then, as was referenced, in Ryan's previous, we will have some right of way. And then, as for normal, final plan approval from the, CRC group. And then, number 6 is where that got really tricky, and this is just a hard question to go into more depth on this. So, again, we had in our code 2 references to two zones. One of them had their uses permitted, one of them had their uses conditional. We repealed after their application was submitted the portion that had it as approved, or, as a permitted use. And so, technically, I guess it's just a little bit blurry, because technically it's allowable, but then with that other ordinance in place, the language is just, I think, sooner to have that conditional use come forward. That's not something that, coming forward, we can deny based on state law, so it's not something that's gonna go and keep these people out the door, but it's something that we can and need to, I think, look at and just make sure, to get that clarified as an allowable use. And in the future, and Dana and I mean, we were just like, oh, why did that not get removed when the code was, the new was adopted? And I don't know. I don't know why, but it wasn't, it was, and it is. And we just want to make sure that that's completely clear that the use has been approved and is allowable.
Once that's cleaned up.
So with that, I don't know if there's additional questions,
Okay.
and obviously opening up to the public.
Any other questions from the commissioners or staff, or questions specifically from the petitioner? Mhm.
Just well presented.
Will you guys be keeping the other facility in the Ogden Industrial Park, and then this is an additional, or will you be moving that facility up to this facility? How fast it's growing. Okay. We need to open this as a public hearing. I notice that we do have some people here from the in the audience. So do I have motion to open up the public hearing at this time? I'll make a motion to open the public hearing. Commissioner Cummings opens to, as a public hearing. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a second from Commissioner Park. All in favor, say aye.
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 Now in a public hearing. Do we have anybody from the audience that would like to approach and ask any questions, make any statements, or make any comments for today for the commission? Please come on up. Please state your name and your address for the commission.
Actually, tonight I'm looking at work products, 25. That's located at that intersection. We talked about 25, straight across the street from that is private driving. And it's that intersection that I wanted to kind of find out. It's always been. I know we've talked tonight about. By the way, Sunrock's successful. I just wanted to point out that we've been dealing with issues at that intersection for even on high-pressure tri-state stoplight that we've addressed. We go downtown to Sunrock into that facility, but on the other side of that road, we actually have dozens of trucks and cars that are going out on that side, and they cause a little bit of problem with the left turn on because we have large trucks and trailers that are in and out off the intersection. Probably. So, I guess one of my questions is, we kind of tried to address that a little bit, but it's always a hope that we can stop trouble, even way with this time. So I guess my comments relate to that intersection and the fact that probably look at the other side as well. Probably trying to get traffic out of the left-hand turn and have trouble.
Can you pull a map up so we can kind of see where
Yeah, let me get on there.
we're?
Maybe it won't matter. But, kind of like getting out of the right. You can sometimes during the day you get out, people to left, to the right, but there are other times.
Good luck.
That area on 89 is pretty. You have high traffic times in the morning early and we have we have kind of a curb and gutter exit that we use because we purchased that property right there next to the highway. So we've been trying to exit about 200 yards down. So we have a curb and gutter exit. We have exit right on.
Can you use the pointer, please, and just kind of show a little bit of where you're?
That's helpful here.
Okay, so
I'll try to follow my mouse.
so here we go. So the road that we're talking about, right here, that's our private driveway with that one. This is part of our facility as well. We currently have a curb and gutter exit right here. For the previous owner, so we're actually having a big truck exit here.
And that's all the new stuff you just put in. All the new fence line and all that.
And then, but everybody else, but they're all the contractors, and then regular
But most everything that they're doing is coming and going the opposite way. Right.
Most will come from the north and south, or will you have most come south?
And so I want to make sure that we remind everybody that we need to make sure of as much as possible that we talk into the mics tonight, so it'll be picked up. But so he's talking at least 8 trucks, 8 semi trucks and about 15 box trucks are going to come this way, and then but they're going to come in and take a left here, and then they're going to come in the back of the facility. And then they're going to come back out, and then they're going to come probably back out this way, and then come back out this way. Because you're going to come this way, and you're going to come back in this way, and then come back out this way. So the only cross path will really be these guys maybe turning left this way, and if they don't merge back in fast enough before they come back turn into there. So really, I'm thinking we're looking pretty good. I mean, if there was a light, it might help out longer term, but I think as UDOT, now that doesn't mesh with us, and we're not going to look into it because that'll be a UDOT, but as the traffic increases, then that'll bring UDOT to have to look at that increased traffic, and maybe that'll bring someday a light because of the increased traffic. So.
And I will speak to discussions with council members and then on the record, they do not feel that this is the complete of what we want to do with that corner because similar.
Well, I think we all want to
Yeah.
see something there. I mean, yeah.
Now, I think because of that, the way they designed it, most people don't come down that way.
Yeah.
There's still a lot of people.
Which I think what it'll do is as this increased traffic, as your increased traffic pushes that, then it'll probably warrant more traffic studies to be done. And so I think until that actually happens, it'll push more traffic studies to happen. So thank you for that input.
Mr.
Yes.
Farr asked if there's certain times of day that the trucks are coming, if they're only coming at certain times of day. Between 7 and 5. Sorry, I'm not trying to tear at you. My style.
No, did you say?
Yeah, no, that would be great. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for coming.
And to follow up, any night deliveries?
No.
No. Oh, no.
Any other comments from the audience?
So I just wanted to start our meeting facilitated with you guys and with a very situation. I think that there's something more happening. I think that, we can just pipeline the is a help person, however. Just stop there.
Okay, any other questions from the audience?
I just have a quick question. Just a clarification on the truck. Are you saying where that new medical center, the emergency center is? Yes.
Yes.
Is that road when you widened and completed between the semi, like turn onto that? I don't know if you've been there with you in and out. It's a nightmare. Because the roads are not wide enough. Is that road
As far as how do you, what are you saying it's not widening?
There is one lane that turns north, and then there's two lanes, one goes straight and then one turns that goes south.
She's talking about a truck.
Yeah, talking about right there.
That road for a semi to try and turn onto to go north is not gonna be wide enough for a semi. Oh, down here.
25, 50.
Oh, okay, okay. It's like
yeah.
a skirt and top mark on the road that goes north and south, and that's where the semi is potentially be turning onto, correct?
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have driven on that lately, but it's.
This is wide enough, but when you come here and you turn, and there's a car sitting here, that is.
You're right. I travel that road a lot and thinking about it, going north, I can't see that happening.
Might be someday.
That's us, right? I mean, any truck going to turn that way will have to wait till the two cars out of that lane are wide enough for the wheel to turn. If there's a backup on that. Right. Real tight. Will be, but they won't be able to turn left until there's no cars coming this direction, so it'll be that time of day.
Come up, sorry. Scott, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the question.
So that was one of my boss's first concerns was how we're going to navigate through that mix and kind of handle it. A lot of our material comes out of our base yard in Salt Lake, and it comes up on a truck that has a 48-foot trailer with a 24-foot pup with it. And I actually brought that truck up and had him over at the yard, had him fill up with material, and I did it at 3 o'clock in the afternoon just to see what happened. And I followed him from Dan Thomas directly across Highway 89 and up 2550. Had him go up and then make that turn off 600 and I followed him through to the freeway. And I've got video, and if you watch as he turns that corner, there was actually a truck coming south on 600, waiting to turn left to go on 2550. And as he rolled up, the only thing he had to wait for was the car coming westbound on 2550, and he was able to make the corner. And if you watch it, he cuts that thing quick, it turns with handle. Now, does he run into the gravel on the side of that? Yeah. You know, maybe by a foot or two, but I mean, I have video. You can see it. But it is a turnable turn with somebody proceeding south. So that concern was definitely one of our very first things, and that was actually before we finalized the purchase of the property, because we wanted to make sure we were looking at what. Because that was my boss.
Because that's your responsibility.
He says, "Where's your truck going to go?" And I told him what it was, and he said, "We'll find out." So like I said, we loaded the truck up and had him come fully loaded and everything, so that I was using my, lack of a better word, worst case scenario in that situation. And I figured between 3 and 4 o'clock was probably the worst time, and I did happen to hit traffic coming out.
Yeah, and that's nice that you'd actually looked at that ahead of time. Questions?
I don't have any questions.
Any other questions from the audience while we're open for a public hearing? Any other comments or questions from the audience? Hearing none, I take a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll motion to close the public hearing.
Dean made a motion to close the public hearing. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
We have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we are now closed in the public hearing. Oh, sorry.
Oh,
Dan.
sorry, Dan.
Dan.
Sorry.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much. All right, we will now, we'd like to now talk to the commission. Do you have any more comments or questions that the commission is now in the commission?
I think they've done their homework pretty well, and any concern I have is resolved. I'm good.
I feel the same way. I think that Sun Pros did a great job as far as doing all their homework and making sure they're taking the city's best interest and traffic flow's best interest and trying to meet everybody's rules and regulations. And as far as the traffic impact for the type of customers they're going to have and the quantity of customers, I don't think it's a substantial impact to our traffic for that area already. And I'm super excited to have them as part of the community. I think it's great. It's perfect use for that property.
Comments, questions?
No, I think, I would just love to see that intersection better.
Me too.
And I think hopefully it will be, because I think it's in their best interest, and I think it's in the city's best interest, and I think it's in everybody's best interest. But I appreciate your, no, I know. And it's short of giving up a ton of property, I get it. Yeah, I know.
So apply some more pressure.
Yeah.
Julie, any other comments on the phone?
No, I think they did a really great job of going through everything. My concern was the truck hours because of the residential aspect on 2550 North. The 7 to 5, I think, really helps with that. I do have a question though, is what's to keep those hours in the future? Do we have other ordinances in place to prevent nighttime deliveries or something else? The company grows or?
I don't know that, my comment on that though, Julie, I don't know that it matters because this meets the ordinance for this zoning. And, for our area, this meets well within the zone for that. And so, it's well within. And if you look at where it's at, it's, if they have deliveries after hours, it's right on the corner. I don't think if you drive by that area, that's not like it's going to be affecting massive amounts of any housing developments or, even if it was after hours or even a second shift, I don't see that there's a great impact, but it does meet the zoning and it meets the requirements for the area. And I, just from a personal note, I work for a facility that's 2 or 3 doors down from their current facility, and these guys are very good neighbors to work with. And the only thing that I was concerned with is the traffic pattern. These guys are very busy at where they're at, not from an abusive traffic pattern, but I do know that they're very busy. And so sometimes their traffic they're very constantly busy. So I wanted to just make sure that traffic flow was not going to cause a concern for us. So I'm very excited that they've done their work, their homework, and that traffic is going to be contained within their property and that the traffic flow is going to be, that is mitigated into their system. So I'm very happy with the homework that's been done both with them and with our engineering and with our DRC committee. So thank you very much for everybody for the work that's been done for that. So if there's no more comment, do we have anybody that would like to make a motion?
I'll just make a reminder that we do have some conditions.
Oh, yes. Would you like to put those back up?
Yes. I'll do that.
Because are we recommending, or are we approving with the recommendations that have to go to the city council? That's right.
Or denying, or I don't want to tell you what to do.
Okay, but we just have to remember that we are approving, but we have to do it with conditions that some items still need to go to the city council.
Right, and then some other items.
There are some specific things that need to be figured out if we approve.
If you approve it, yeah. Sorry, I did not mean.
Can I just ask a quick question on the secondary?
Yeah.
You'd mentioned there's going to be xeriscaping, so what would the secondary water be utilized for?
So our current ordinance requires that secondary be provided at all developments that are the use of 89
Oh, okay. So, okay.
I'll come back and change it.
Right.
I would like to make a motion that we approve the site plan for Sunpro located at approximately 995 west, 2700 north, based on the completion of the conditions that were presented by staff.
Okay, we have a motion on the table by Commissioner Park. Do we have a second?
I'll second that, Andy.
That was you. Ooh. We're gonna, since Julie was so dominant with that, we'll go with Julie's, Commissioner Farr's. We'll go with Commissioner Farr as the second. Is there any discussion on the motion on the table? Okay, all in favor say, oh,
Have a comment? Sorry.
Julie, comment?
No,
Oh, okay, sorry.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All in favor. Any opposed? Okay, we'll go ahead. Thank you very much. We really appreciate and excited to have you guys join the community here, and excited to have you here tonight. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you so much.
And thank you for joining us tonight. Appreciate your
Driving
comment.
up, drive back safely, and thanks for being here, Brandon.
Thank you. Oh,
We know that.
there's been a lot of work into this project. We do appreciate that. We've seen it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Good night.
Okay, let's go ahead and move to the legislative portion of our meeting tonight. The public, this will also be public hearing. So did that need to be public hearing? That shouldn't have been a public hearing then, right?
The last one,
Yeah.
it was, I'm sorry, I didn't know that it operate on this.
All right.
I don't know if you've been around much here, but they're kind of all public.
I don't think that happened.
No, that one, it was public notice.
Okay.
We're good.
I didn't put it on the agenda properly.
Even if it didn't need to be, we did.
Andy
We're
did
covered.
me a solid right there, so.
Okay, we're covered.
I'm gonna do you all a solid with a quick presentation, hopefully.
All right, legislative item discussion, amend the Pleasant View Mobile Subdivision Code 17.02.08 and 17.60.06.020 and 17.10.030 to amend notice of requirements. Turn it over to staff and have them give us a presentation.
I'm gonna present both of these in one.
Better.
Yeah, so, one of the things that, in looking at our noticing ordinances, excuse me. There we go. Move this forward. So obviously, we're subject to state law and want to adhere to that. So that's one of the filters that we looked at with this. But cities need to meet that minimum, but we also have standards that extend beyond that. And so some of the things that we do for noticing, and, you know, as was mentioned earlier, are kind of a courtesy thing. So, you know, connecting with property owners in a specific radius, that's not necessarily a requirement of state law. That's something that we have in our ordinances to make sure that people are aware of different things. Right now, our current ordinances, they vary. So depending on if it's a subdivision, if it's a site plan, whatever it is, it'll go from 300 to 500 feet. And so one of the things that actually Lori and I kind of put this together are recommending is in consistency with that and looking at a 500 foot radius, the larger radius of the two, just so that it's easier for staff. It's easier to tell, you know, when people come in, you know, what's the noticing? Oh, it's a 500 foot radius. It's kind of a cleanup item with that. And then with the mailing, some of them have different protocols, and so this is really, again, a cleanup thing to make sure that we're doing mailings consistently with all of them that require them in the ordinance, but consistently with how we approach how we're doing them. And then the third one, and this is something that we've done already, but wanted to codify it, is we're posting all of our notices and all of our agendas on the city and state website. And the main intent with that is to make sure that, you know, if people look on the city website or on the state website, wherever they're looking, that's available to them. It's really funny, the state requirements they have all these physical postings that we have to do. And I still kind of laugh at that because I think people aren't going around to physical locations to look for those. We will continue to do the physical postings and if there's state law, but I think having this in the code really is a helpful part of it on that. And so I don't know if you had a chance to go through the red lines. There really isn't anything of substance necessarily. It's just a cleanup and trying to improve consistency with that. But I'm happy to entertain any questions.
I did have a couple questions. Just no. So when I was talking to a friend the other day, and he lived out in Plain City, and he's developing some land out there, and he was telling me the whole process that he's going through, and he said, yeah, and then I just have to provide them a list of 500 or the people within 500 feet, and then they send out the notices and they mail it out and all that. I'm like, well, the city does that for you? And he said, yeah, he did that. I said, oh, Pleasant does not do that. We do it differently. And I'm assuming that's just the.
But that's actually, yeah, just something that we do, and we don't specify that in the code. But that's a discussion Laurie and I had, and actually, part of it is a cost saving. So we, we give them a list, or and then they prepare the envelope, stamp them, bring them in. But part of the discussion I had with Laurie, and I really would actually like to switch that direction a little bit. And the reason being is to ensure that all of those people that need to be noticed are properly noticed. I mean, we can go and verify the names on the envelopes and that, but that's fine. And so I think it's maybe easier to build in the postage into the fee structure and not go that route. It's not much more on our end, and I think there's enough questions that even in my last couple of weeks, doing the planning side of things about the envelopes that it takes time, and we've got a paper folder. I don't think we have to. I don't know if you had a preference on that.
No, I don't. I just thought, oh, that's interesting because Pleasant View doesn't do the exact opposite. They provide me the list. Me would go out and prepare all the labels and then hand it back to you to send out. Well, they give you they give you the labels to send out. So anyway, I don't have a preference on any of those. It doesn't matter to me.
No, I know it's kind of a funny thing. Well, and when I worked in Austin, we did all of the names and what we do. Definitely, just kind of maybe that's why.
Yeah, and yeah. I mean, it was kind of nice that Jill provided a list, and then for me it was easy because all I had to do was put that into a mail merge and bam, and they're there.
And not everybody that comes to do something knows how to use them. Like it's just, I mean that honestly. I mean, everybody has different technical abilities.
The other question I had was when you said it's on that website. Is there a link from our city website to that city and state website? Yeah, so that shows you how often I'm in website.
But one of the cool things, and I don't know if you all have done this, but you should, on the state website, you can subscribe, and whenever there's a city notice that's posted, and it can be city council, planning commission, or all city notices, you can get a little email and let you know that, oh, this is coming up, and it might be something worth looking into as planning commissioners, get a little bit of advance notice on something that you're going to be looking at. Dana subscribed, and she helped us out a few times on some funny hiccups.
Yeah, I've had citizens go, hey, I'm hearing that this is taking place on the wall.
Yeah,
You just
I
gotta,
think you should
you
all
go,
subscribe.
haven't seen that one yet. Like,
good idea, really.
no, it's not very much. It's less. Yeah, I just.
Yes, we are, but I'm happy to email that.
Yeah, I just don't go and look at those emails very
That's just
often.
a website that where you go and you select the city, and then you can select the body that's having
Yep.
Okay.
But you have to go and look at your emails. I don't do that very often.
That's the trick. That's the trick. No.
Any other questions for staff on these items?
Can we go back to what you were just talking about with the envelopes and the stamping? So currently, it's up to the developer to to stuff the envelopes and get them sent out? Is that
No,
what
they
you were
bring
saying?
in pre-posted and addressed envelopes and then we stuff them.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's where literally all they're doing is the envelopes and then postage. It just, I don't know, it seems like a weird thing. to me.
Yeah, so were you,
That actually got sent.
right, I was just trying to clarify, so were you saying if you have an additional fee, then the city just does all of it? Is that what you were recommending?
Potentially. And we haven't made any determination, but that's one of the things that, I mean, we talked about looking into, just, you know, having that fee for whatever the cost of the
Yeah.
postage is, and then, or, you know, maybe envelopes, maybe a little bit of staff time, but I don't know, maybe developers would prefer to continue to do it this way, if there's a little bit of staff
I
time.
didn't know there was a different way.
This is all new to Jeff, but.
I mean, I've never developed, but if I were a developer, one less thing for me to do, and then to ensure that it's right, and if I can just pay somebody to do it right.
And so it's just kind of this, you know,
Yeah.
pushing the cost to them, but we can still, there's other mechanisms to do that. And my big thing is, I just want to ensure that, you know, the list of what's there is what's going out and
Right.
verify that. And not that, I think that it, you know, Jill has been verifying that, but you think you're taking the time to verify that, why not take the time to do it?
You know, now that you say that, I think when I did that subdivision in Brigham City, I think Brigham City just got the list, prepared the envelope, and of course they just built that into the fee. I think that's all it was.
Yeah.
That really should fall under our responsibility because it's up to us to protect the adjacent properties, not the developer.
sure we
Right, right.
It's up to
Just,
us
yeah,
to
make
notify them.
sure it's
Just stick them
done.
with the
Get
fee.
lost if they have a really angry neighbor.
If it costs more, then we need to charge
Just-
more. That's not something we should be
Well,
even
and
asking
I
them to
think
do.
there's been a few times where we have been missing a few envelopes, and then it pulls things back too, which is kind of crazy. And, you know, because it's like, oh,
Why
didn't
don't we
get all
just-
your envelopes.
Yeah, I
Couldn't
think
we
it would
just come up
streamline
with
it.
a per owner notification fee that's a flat rate? So if they happen to buy or develop next to 100 apartments, so be it. If they develop next to Wildcat Storage, so be it. Like it should be a simple program, and it really should be our responsibility. We should not be asking the developer to do that.
Because my first thought was, okay, we're going from 300 to 500, and my thought was the cost. I'm going, well, the worst case, you're going, 200 feet, and if it's 100 foot, if we're going 100 foot, per
100
each.
feet doesn't go very far.
Well, I know, well, if you're 100 foot per each resident, right, there's 2 people this way and 2 people that way and 2 people, it's like, you're 10 and you're like, what, $10 just, for each envelope? I was like, this is nothing. I mean, you
And
think what, an extra $50, but I never thought if you have an apartment. We don't have those.
Oh, yes, we do.
No, we don't want those. Okay, let's keep this back to what's actually taking place. The red line of moving this from 300 to 500 foot radius. Are there any other questions with the item?
And then
that
the
we're
addition
redlining.
of the Utah Public Notice website on some of the items, and then the addition of the city's website on some of the items as well. So
So we have those items, we have questions for staff about the project. Because then what we need to do is we have to actually open up 2 different public hearings separately. Is that right?
and I think, yes, just because of the way that I posted it, I'm sorry.
Okay, so let's go ahead and open up the first one as a public hearing. Do I have someone that can open that as a public hearing?
First question before we do that. Because it wasn't posted or notified as a public hearing, do we have to table it
This
until
one
that's
is
done?
posted as well. And the other one was popular, it's just on the agenda, it wasn't listed as a public hearing. So
Okay.
that one was noticed properly.
Okay, motion to
Previous.
open public hearing as requested by Andy.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Stokes with a second by Bolingbrook. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Aye.
Now in a public hearing, any comments from the public? Seeing none, do we have a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing on
Motion to
agenda
close the
item
public
3.
hearing by Commissioner Park. Second?
I'll second it.
Second the motion.
We have a second by Commissioner. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we are now closed. Is there any comment? Okay, do we have a motion one way or the other?
Recommendation.
Recommendation to the council.
I'll make a motion, we recommend the city council that we amend the Pleasant View Municipal Code subdivision codes, section 7.
Second by vote.
Item number 3 on the agenda.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Bolenbrook, second by Commissioner Park. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I,
So passed. All right, the next is the amend the municipal code, zoning code 18-02-05. Do we have a motion? Oh, let's open up to a public hearing. Do we have a motion to open?
I'll motion to open to public hearing.
A motion by Commissioner Stokes.
I'll second.
We have a second. We, all in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, we're now open, public hearing, any comments?
I
Okay,
have one.
motion.
I'd like to motion to close public hearing.
Okay. All second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we're now closed. Do we have a motion on these to recommend to city council?
I motion to approve, a motion to recommend approval to city council for municipal code zoning 18.02.050.
Okay, we have a motion to recommend to city council, the Commissioner Stokes. Do we have a second? We have a second by Commissioner Bolenbrook. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we are good to go. Okay, now we're going to commission communication.
Sorry.
Just, I wanted to bring up a couple things real quick before we jump in here, just as a couple reminder things and a training thing. Well, everybody's really new. A lot of it actually is long-termer, but just as a, some of them new and some long-termers, but just as a reminder, when Amy sends out some emails, just as a couple reminders, when you need to reply back, Amy's going to send out emails that reply back. Let's make sure if we're not going to be here, and everybody was really good. I think we all said if we're not going to be here, we let her know if we're not going to be here. And attendance is great, and I really appreciate everybody being here tonight because it makes it go really fast if we're here. But if for some reason we're not going to be here in attendance, let's make sure we let her know. And then the other thing is when we do reply, let's make sure we're not replying to everybody, so we just reply to her directly. And then if she's going to have any problems with attendance, then she will reply back to us. Because just as a quick reminder, when you say reply all, then you basically just created a meeting to all of us. And that, when you're sending it back to all of us, that makes it technically a meeting. So we're trying to just say, I'll reply to her, and then she can decide if she needs to reply to all of us. Because then technically it is subpoenable. All of our emails are now a meeting between us. So just kind of keep that between us if you're going to reply to her.
Just to eliminate that as a potential, let's just have them send out as all BCC. So,
We can use BCC.
yeah, BCC.
That's an easy response. That's a great idea.
Say that again?
Yeah, I didn't understand what.
We just reply to her, and then she can decide if she wants to send it back to all of us, and then that's a separate issue. But I can send to her and say, I'm not going to be there, and then she can decide if she needs to send to all of us and say, we'll cancel the meeting, or, hey, I need to make sure everybody who's going to be there because I'm going to be short, you know, or, hey, I need to make a change, or, so just, that's kind of what we've decided as a group.
Does communication have to happen through email? Like, could I text you?
Oh yeah, texting is welcome, and actually, I was just thinking about that, I and probably the new planner that comes in would be good to have your numbers, but I will say, during a meeting, I would discourage you from texting back and forth, just because
Right.
again, I mean, you know,
Uh,
you're asking.
I'm just
questions.
saying day of, if something comes up and I can't make it, could I text you and say, oh, I can't make it tonight? And then that
Oh, yeah,
avoids
that's
all of
absolutely-
this.
yep.
Okay.
So that's absolutely doable. And I will say, I mean, because Julie had some great comments tonight and questions. And, you know, if somebody is electronic, I mean, I don't mind if you text those questions too, but just kind of to that one single source, and then I'll just read them verbatim word for word, just so that there's no question. I mean, I do so much city business on my phone, I'm sure they could grandma the heck out of it, so go for it.
Just as a funny side note, when I started up here, you know, phones weren't as readily available, nobody's getting new to these, you know, we're just all starting. We had a commissioner chairman, his name was Frank Mon, there was some of the response members here in Pleasant, you probably know him. An incredible man, he was fun to teach us, but I sat in the corner and somebody up here pull out their computer, you know, their phone, and they were always texting, and he chewed them out real quick, and he said, no, you put that phone away when you walk up here. He said, because if you're up here texting and we get subpoenaed, someone's going to say, well, I'm suing you guys because you were texting in between each other, and I want to know why you texted because you were texting this person, and he's going to say, yeah, it's on the camera, and I want to hear what you guys were texting. So his whole thing was, you know, if someone's going to sue us for something, they're going to want to know who talked to who and what. They're going to subpoena everything and anything. And so he said, just it's the practice of what's hidden behind it. And were they talking to each other? No, but it's the deception of why or what. But now, could it be, you know, it's all just perception. And so he would always just say, just put the phone down, turn them on silent, go before them out because of the perception, right? So we're here for the meeting. I thought that was a good lesson. All right, any other communications between the commission? I don't think we're meeting in 2 weeks.
You're not because of the APA conference.
And we're gonna
now.
try to keep it to one meeting a month if we can. I like that theory.
Trying hard.
Okay. All right, we'll turn it over to,
I'd like to talk about some of the legal challenges that we can have, and Sarah will be familiar with these, so will Andy. Others weren't around at the time, but one of them was when they wanted the high-density development by the Front Runner area, Station 1, and then they wanted to expand it further north into another large plot of land that was clearly intended to be mixed use. Recall that? Yeah, clearly it was, and it was just a matter of the wording in the overall plan early on that they took it to the ombudsman, and is Brent Bateman still doing that? But I think he was then. And the determination was that, okay, because the plan wasn't structured with exactly the right kind of wording, even though we have an idea what the intent was, they're going to go ahead. So then we had high density housing going north of that area, even though that might not have been the intent. Yeah. So anyway, that's how that one went. And another one is the cell tower out here. And Verizon came to us, and they were trying to be as accommodating as possible. And the bottom line is, I think it's controlled by FCC regulations that you cannot deny communication capability to the residents by denying the cell tower. So Verizon was really being nice by coming to us and helping select areas that were best suited for what the city wanted. And actually what they could have done is they could have said, we're going to put it here.
we give them places where it fits.
Yeah. But
In our best interest, in our areas.
some of the objections were, I know that when that was open to the public, and I remember one gentleman came up and said that he would have to give his grandkids psychiatric counseling because they play in that park. and it would destroy their perception of the world. And other times, some people fight it by saying, no, in the first place, it's going to go in, but they'd say, oh, we want the short version of the tower. And that's not a good idea, because if you have the taller version, then other people piggyback onto that, and that will happen. So if you do the shorter version and they can't do that, then instead of one tower, you have two towers. And the other one that most of the folks here witnessed was when the people they were in a commercial zone, and they wanted to change to agricultural because the taxes were killing them, and that's a valid thing. And I remember the owner came up and said, hey, this is America, why can't we just make this exception? And it sounds good in concept, it really does. But I know from attending Brent Bateman seminars through our conferences that that would open up a can of worms that would go on forever, because then the message goes out that Pleasant View will accommodate about anything because they made exceptions here. And that would be something that you wouldn't want to live with.
Can I ask a question about that? This is a personal thing, but I believe it was mentioned that there's a city ordinance that if you're serviced by culinary water from Pleasant View, you have to be serviced with secondary.
There's a couple of areas with exceptions.
Okay, because I'm obviously in Pole Patch, and there's 3 of us right by the gate that are serviced by Pleasant View water. Well, that's stupid. Okay, I'll just set you in power. Well, that's fine. I was just curious because we are serviced.
I knew where you were going,
Yeah.
that's why I was smiling.
We do have Pleasant View city water for 3 houses right there, but yet we don't have secondary. So it's so I could start a farm and never mind.
All right,
I was just
Throw some
curious.
pipes, that would be great.
Yeah, I'm not gonna.
staff
just
communications.
Okay, I have a couple of items quickly. So one of them, and this is why we have the Zoom of the past today, we are having some issues with our equipment. It sounds fabulous in here because the yelling stopped, well, for now I guess. But we are working on getting a new box, but the last recording, it did not work well. So Heather was trying to put together the minutes, and it was very, very soft. Couldn't hear all of the motion. And so notice tonight,
That's why I was
very
being
good
redundant.
at saying who was making motions. But there were a couple of gaps in here that Heather asked me to ask about, and I don't know if you all recall, but these are based on the last determinations. And so Jeff had made the motion in the last meeting on the cul-de-sac length requirements, and then we don't have the seconded the motion. Does anyone recall?
Weren't there just like 4 or 5 of us that heard that?
No, that was
It was
Full House.
Full house.
We have great attendance.
Oh, okay. Well, we are.
I'll take the blame. You can put it on me.
I mean, they were all unanimous votes, and so, yeah, it's just kind of a tricky thing, but we need it for the.
Just one quick question: Is it recorded, like the video recorded?
So it is, and it went out on YouTube, but the problem is the sound was even on YouTube. Apparently, for some, I'm the only one that watches them, so.
Can you kind of see, like in the video, like who's making the motion?
Please try.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh. and she was giving me a mic or, yeah, it was tough. And the hard thing too is, I mean, she's kind of going off your voices as well. Yeah, okay. And so
Trying to
then,
throw my voice.
with the curb cut item, we don't have to make a motion or the second on that. And we are making a note on these minutes that
Dean made the motion and Dave seconded it. Yeah, that sounded good. I echoed him.
other questions in the minutes. And so the minutes won't be approved until the next meeting in April. So this is part of the discussion with the cul-de-sac, and I'm just gonna see if we can fill in the blank. This is kind of fun. It's like Nazareth. Being told the Newburgh County Code in Red Deer language,
Then he went, "Ooh."
it says we cut it off at 6:50. We spoke again with no audio picking up. Andy asked if people would be trapped in an emergency because there's only one way out, and someone asked if there's a way to keep the language in as is and work with individual developers if they need something.
Yeah, I spoke to that. Yeah.
Thank you, Dan.
Yeah, I sure did.
Okay, got that one filled in. Let's see, I think we only have 3 more. Okay, so, let's see. Down in the end of the meeting, I'm not sure what I guess this is, with Yvonne and Jenny when we were speaking, but, someone said there was a problem. They came back with options to fix it, and everyone should be happy. Okay. And then someone who approved the conveyance for the 25 years. That was Julie. Okay.
But right after I did, because I said I don't see what the problem is, and she said the problem is we don't know how to word it. And then
Oh, that's right.
she
That's right.
worked herself through it.
Okay, and then who seconded Julie's motion? I think it was actually.
He was in a mood that night.
He was. He was
in a
chatty. I
positive
loved it.
Definitely there.
And you'll notice I'm kind of a loudmouth. I don't think they ever can't hear me. Out of Bill's voice. And so with that, just a couple of other things for business.
The good news.
Yes, some excellent news. We have hired a new planner. Yes, so she'll be starting week from Monday. And her name is Amber Corbridge. She's coming from Austin City. She's been a planner there for 4 years. We're thrilled to have her. Some great background and expertise. And also, the APA conference is coming up in Snap, and then it was already brought up. There's no second meeting for this. So our next meeting will be on April the 7th. And if there's any questions in the meantime, I really have been impressed the attendance the last 2 months and just district willingness to come. You have the dialogue. I think you were great, and it gives you all any questions in your dialogue. So thank you so much.
Sarah, anything from city council? Are we good tonight?
Okay. And can you get on the mic? Sorry for Julie.
I'm sorry, made you get up
I can
again.
parrot, but it's gonna be a lot of parroting.
We don't want to have to rephrase it all.
Projects, roads, wall,
Is that one going to happen this year?
No, Veterans Monument, slated for dedication in May. And Armed Forces Day. our first, I think our oh, we're looking for a wholesale partner. You know, we're just over here.
What is the host's responsibility?
We'll help out.
Like, is there like a financial aspect to it?
However they want to do it. Woody did, you know, Woodruff Auto spent some money. They advertised in the Star magazines and, you know, we'll help advertising. Our guys go down and do a lot. They set up tents, they do water, ice, chairs, and things like that, and we provide venue and do what we can, but really it's on the person who's sponsoring the account. So that's kind of a big thing. The market that that's moving along. That's moving along, and you guys are doing stuff they're looking at. Oh, we formed some custom cities, cemetery. They're looking seriously at, you know, finding land in the city for cemetery. Maybe the Nelson,
How much land are they looking for?
there's a lot of things to talk about. Come to fruition. Anyway, any questions?
Great.
Great.
Anything else?
Plan on me not being here on the 7th of April.
I am Julia.
Jeff,
Okay, make a motion, we close.
motion to close the meeting.
Well, second.
Carried. Done. Thank you
Second.
very much, everybody, for your attendance. Have a good
So
night.
can I ask a question now that this meeting is closed?
Oh,
Yeah, we've got a quote, so we're on mic.
It's just a question about UDOT and 2700.
Just come over and